watching me. I'm just an average man with an average life. I work from 9 to 5. Hey, hell, I pay the price. All I want is to be left alone in my average home. But why do I always feel like I'm in the twilight zone? And I always feel like somebody's watching me, and I have no privacy. Oh, I always feel like somebody's watching me. Tell me, is it just a dream? When I come home at night, I bolt the door real tight. People call me on the phone, I'm trying to avoid. But can the people on TV see me, or am I just paranoid? When I'm in the shower, I'm afraid to wash my hair, 'cause I might open my eyes and find someone standing there. People say I'm crazy, just a little touched, but maybe showers remind me of psycho too much. That's why I always feel like somebody's watching me, and I have no privacy. Oh, I always feel like somebody's watching me. Who's playing tricks on me?
Hello, good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I thought I'd come to you nice and early. I finally figured out what I've been doing wrong. So, it's joyful. If you were admiring what I'm wearing, you need to go to letwomenspeak.org and pick up one for your very own. Well, look, before you get worried, clearly what Graham Linehan has done, or what some of us might call Glinner, what he's done is absolutely terrible. Terrible. I hate to tell you all. It's quite upsetting. He's done 3 tweets. I'm surprised they didn't shoot him on sight, to be honest, because he actually used words in those tweets. Dangerous words. Should we have a look together and see? It's so upsetting. Personally, I think we should bring back hanging, because 3 tweets. So someone says the tweets have been shared by Fair Cop. So let's have a look. Mad, isn't it? Mad. I'm going to look at Graham's Substack. He is, you won't, he's not allowed on Twitter at the moment. The police have advised. Look, before I do this, I just want to remind you all, let me remind you all, right, that I've had people come out in person, physically in person. That Alan Baker, who calls himself Sarah Jane, who ate his own testicles in prison, he shouted some threat in front of police about me and J.K. Rowling, and he used our names, and something like, I want them to feel unsafe, or something like that. That was very much a threat, incitement, and nothing happened to him. And that was an actual something that was said in front of police. I've also had people trying to break through police lines to get to me, to shut me up, and they carry signs that call me a Nazi, or decapitate TERFs, etc., arm the dolls, whatever, right? They say all these things, and unfortunately, nothing happens to them. And we know that there are some well-connected officers. I don't know whether they're filleting each other at lunchtime. I have no idea how they're connected. Some sort of human centipede type thing going on with the police and trans activists, I think, because they managed to clap their hands. They managed to clap their hands, and the police do their bidding. And it's not the ordinary officers that are coming out to do this. They think it's shit. They all think it's bullshit. They don't want to be doing that. Most of them joined up the police force to actually fight crime. But there will be a few police officers, both in and ex-police officers, who joined the police force because they're wannabe Nazis. Because actually what they want to do is they want to exert power and they want to make people submit to whatever particular whim they want them to bend their knee. And I just want to remind you that many police officers fucking shined shoes during the BLM bullshit stuff, right? So many police officers took the knee. It was embarrassing. It was embarrassing, chaps, really embarrassing, because it's not your place to do that. It's nothing to do with you. When you're on duty, you are there only to serve and protect the public. Nothing else. We don't give a shit what you think about anything. Just to any officers who weren't aware of how I can say things. So let's have a look. We'll share this. Let me make it a bit bigger so you can see. And I think what I can do. Oh, hi, Graham. There, right. Okay, hopefully. So there's Graham in hospital, because I think he thought he was going to have a stroke. Make sure you can. There we go. So something odd happened before I even boarded the flight in Arizona. When I handed over my passport at the gate, and the official told me I didn't have a seat and had to be reticketed. At the time, I thought it was just sort of an innocent snafu that makes air travel such a joy. But in hindsight, it was clearly because I'd been flagged. Someone somewhere, probably wearing unconvincing makeup and his sister's wife's mum's underwear, sometimes daughters as well, Graham. I feel that was a misstep on your part, had made a phone call. The moment I stepped off the plane at Heathrow, 5 armed police officers were waiting. Not 1, not 2, but 5. And can I say, Graham, I have a shared experience of that happening to me in Australia a couple of times. They escorted me to a private area and told me I was under arrest for 3 tweets. Again, when I landed in somewhere in Australia, I was taken aside and made to wait for quite a long time while they apparently processed something. In a country where paedophiles escape sentencing, where knife crime is out of control, where women are assaulted and harassed every time they gather to speak, the state had mobilized. I'm laughing. It's not funny. It's probably terrifying, but it's insane. Had mobilized 5 armed officers to arrest a comedy writer for this tweet. And no, I promise you, I'm not making it up. So I'm going to find these tweets and share them. I think we all should. If a trans-identified male in a female-only space, he is committing a violent, abusive act, make a scene, call the cops, and if all else fails, punch him in the balls. I think that's fine. Can I just say to police listening, and Joe Bartosh has already beaten me to this particular declaration, I would punch him in the balls and then some. And then I would invite my husband to punch him in the balls. And I would invite any passers-by to punch him in the balls. And I would definitely, if there was a man in a woman-only space where he's not allowed to be, there was a man in that woman-only space, and he wasn't cleaning, and there wasn't a big sign saying that there was a man cleaning, I would definitely, in self-defense, commit acts of violence. I'm just sharing that with you. I think it's important that the police understand that this is a hypothetical man in a hypothetical situation. It's a hypothetical punch, you might say. And allegedly, women would do that if they felt safe enough. And I think they would be well in their rights to do so. And if you don't think so, police, anyone listening, any police officer listening, you can go fuck yourself. Just to be really perfectly clear. Graham is looking down at the unwashed noise, I like to call them these days. And he says, a photo you can smell. And I hate them. Misogynists and homophobes, fuck them. Right? So they're the police. They're the tweets. They're not harassing a single person. They don't name one of these pornified, sick perverts. They don't name them. They're merely describing. Well, they're quite funny. They're not even, they're not even his best work. But they have been reported to the police, and 5 armed officers have come to arrest Graham. And one of the bail conditions, we'll read on. When I first saw the cops, I actually laughed. I couldn't help myself. Don't tell me you've been sent by trans activists. The officer gave no reaction. And this was the theme throughout most of the day. Among the rank and file, there's a sort of polite bafflement, entirely professional and even kind. But most had absolutely no idea what this was all about. Kind because officers saw how upset I was when they began reading me my rights. The red mist descended, and I came close to becoming one of those police body cam videos where you can't believe the perp isn't just doing what he's told. And they treated me gently after that. They even arranged for a van to meet me on the tarmac, so I didn't have to be the perp walking through the airport like a terrorist. Small mercies. So I'm right in thinking you flew in and then they were on the plane? Let me just read. Stepped off the plane. Okay. Wow. At the Heathrow police station, my belt bag and devices were confiscated. Then I was shown into a small green tiled cell with a bunk, a silver toilet in the corner, and a message from Crime Stoppers on the ceiling next to the concave mirror that was presumably there to make you reflect on your life choices. Okay. Jesus Christ. By some miracle, probably because I hadn't slept on the flight, I managed to doze off after the Premier economy seat in which I spent 10 hours. Can I just say, Graham, nobody, no man of your stature should be in Premier economy. Business class all the way at the very minimum. You're too tall. You're too tall and too famous. And you should really have enough money to not go in Premier economy. Anyway, I digress. Was actually a relief to stretch out. That passed the time, though I kept waking up wondering if this was all actually happening. Later, during the interview itself, the tone shifted. The officer conducting it asked about each of the terrible tweets in turn. I'm smiling because it's mental. With the sort of earnest intensity usually reserved for discussing something serious like, oh, I don't know, crime. I explained that the punch tweet was a serious point made with a joke. Men who enter women's spaces are abusers and they need to be challenged every time. The punch in the bollocks bit was about the height difference between men and women, the bollocks being closer to punch level for women, defending her rights, and certainly not a call to violence. Not one of my best, as one of the police officers says. Officer said, "We are not that small." Can I just say, I don't think that if a man is in a female-only space, which is an act of trespass, an act of aggression, an act of intimidation, and an act of boundary evading, I actually think women should be able to meet that with a self-defense act like violence. I would say that was an act of protection for women. So clearly, Graham's always going to be very layered because he's a very clever man and incredibly funny. But I actually think, personally, I think you should be able to kick a man in the balls if you find him in a woman-only space. He mentioned trans people. I asked him what he meant by the phrase, people who feel their gender is different than what was assigned at birth. I said, assigned at birth, our sex isn't assigned. Can I just also say, Graham, I love you very much. You're a great comedy writer. Wonderful. Never, ever, ever talk in a police interview. Don't do it. No comment. I'm sure you've been given this advice many, many times, but I would say for people other than Graham, I don't want to tell Graham how to behave necessarily, but for everybody else, don't speak to the police. Ever. Don't speak to the police. They're not here to help you. They're here to criminalize you. They're here to charge you. They're here to get a nice little tick on their charge, criminal conviction kind of chart. Don't ever speak to them. Ever, 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 ever. People who feel their gender is different than what was assigned at birth. I said assigned at birth. Our sex isn't assigned. He called it semantics. I told him he was using activist language, which is true. He called the damage Stonewall has done to UK police force will take years to mend. I agree. Eventually, a nurse came to check in on me and found my blood pressure was over 200, which is stroke territory. The stress of being arrested for jokes was literally threatening my life, so I was reported to A&E, where I write this down after spending about 8 hours under observation. The doctor suggested the high blood pressure was stress-related, combined with the long-haul travel and lack of movement. I feel it may have also been a contributing factor, and 8 years being targeted by trans activists working in tandem with police in a dedicated, persistent harassment campaign because I refuse to believe that lesbians have cocks. I agree with you, Graham. The police themselves, for the most part, were consistently decent throughout this farce. Some were even Father Ted fans. Thank God the Catholic Church never had, with the police, a special relationship granted to trans activists. The male officers were mostly polite, but clearly nonplussed by the politics of it all, just doing their jobs, however insane their jobs had become. The female officers seemed more tuned into what was actually happening. One mentioned the Sandy Peggy case in a certain way, and I realized I was among friends, even if they couldn't admit it. I looked at the single bail condition, not to go on Twitter. That's it. No threats, no speeches about the seriousness of my crimes designed to shut me up while I'm in the UK, and a demand that I face a further interview in October. The civility of individual officers doesn't alter the fundamental reality of what happened. I was arrested at an airport terrorist, looked in a cell like a criminal, taken to hospital because of the stress, nearly killed me, and banned from speaking online, all because I made jokes that upset some psychotic cross-dressers. To me, this proves one thing beyond doubt. The UK has become a country hostile to freedom of speech, hostile to women, and far too accommodating to the demands of violent, entitled, abusive men who've turned the police into their personal goon squad. Epilogue. At one point I said, I bet I know who made this complaint. Lindsay Watson, demented ex-cop patroon who was fired for his online conduct. Then, lo and behold, one of my lawyers sent me this reply to the bollocks tweet. Sarah sticking with the truth, Sarah Owl 3. That weirdo ex-copper claimed he reported this to the police and is trying to get other troons to do so, just FYI. Watson is also involved in my other case on Thursday and Friday at London Westminster Magistrates Court. Trans activists planning to go and protest. So please bring the nose plugs. So let's just look at those tweets again. Okay, tweet number 1. If trans-identified male is in a female-only space, he's committing a violent, abusive act. I agree. Make a scene, call the cops, and if all else fails, punch him in the balls. A photo you can smell. I hate them. Misogynists and homophobes. Fuck them. So that's Graham's tweets. It's utterly insane. So his court case is is Thursday and Friday of this week, and he is I don't know what he's charged with, some Mickey Mouse bullshit nonsense. Absolutely crazy. There was also developments in the Sandy Peggy case where the judge, the court, the captured court, the unjust court, allowed some sort of redaction on Theodore Upton's real name, which is Theodore Upton. I think he's a registered doctor under the name Theodore Upton. I don't think Theodore Upton should be allowed to call himself anything other than Theodore Upton. Maybe Ted, Teddy, Theo, but definitely a version of Theodore Upton. I don't know if Theodore Upton is a name that we're not allowed to say anywhere. Am I allowed to say Theodore Upton on YouTube? I don't know. I think it would be bad form if everybody started tweeting Theodore Upton. Some of the women were doing that yesterday. So that's Theodore Upton. If you want to tweet about him. If you want to support what I do, and I will probably talk about my things tomorrow, the 2 events over the weekend, which were wonderful. Get yourself a navy Venus symbol. This is navy. A navy Venus symbol t-shirt. Or get yourself this beautiful scarf. Also in suffragette colours, and coming soon in other versions. They're so beautiful. And I've got lots of brand new designs coming out very, very soon. And it may be time to get those long sleeve tops. So we will be introducing a full range of the organic Portuguese base on long sleeve tops, or get yourself a dinosaur badge or a Let Women Speak suffragette badge or a Make Women Female Again badge. I don't care what it is. Just buy merch. And I'll talk through what happened to me at the weekend, probably tomorrow, maybe later today, but probably tomorrow. But I just want to say to all of you people, there's an article about me in a local press where they call me anti-trans. But they talk about unisex toilets. And I'm not going to go too much into this because I think my voice is still really hurting. I mean, where else can you get merchandise like this? Stylish, well-made, hand-printed, high-quality, diamanty women's activist wear. Like, you just can't. It's so beautiful. I want us to be more Karen. I want all of us to turn into the Karens that we keep being accused of. And I'm just going to really talk about toilets and changing rooms. I've written a Substack about this. And what we know is that unisex spaces are not safer for women. They make women more vulnerable. You've got like the porn genres and South Korea where there's little cameras, and we're importing that problem when we make everywhere unisex. So I want you to do this. Go to my Substack, and I'm also going to send an email out to everybody who's on the mailing list of Let Women Speak. But go to my Substack and look at the stats so you can quote them. I might even do a template letter for you. And I want you to complain everywhere there's a changing village, like unisex spaces for people to change, and there's not a place for women, a woman-only space for a woman to go to the toilet. You know, if there's only one toilet, that's one thing. But if there are a range of toilets, or there are many toilets, and there isn't a single one of them that is just for women and just for men, right? If there aren't any of those, if those don't exist, if there isn't a safe place that women can go where there's not piss on the seat, or there hasn't a man can't go in there without being detected, and risky, because that's why men don't do things in women-only toilets, because everyone sees them going in. So anyway, if you can start complaining, like, I mean, every one of you and everywhere. So if you go to the cinema and it's only unisex toilets, complain to the cinema. If any council building, any swimming pool, any leisure complex, everywhere you go, you have to complain. Like, all of you. I mean, all of you. I mean, every last one of you has to do this. Even if you went on holiday to, I don't know, Skegness last year, and you remember the local swimming pool just had a unisex kind of changing village vibe. I want you to do that, because we just haven't been Karen enough. Often what's been happening is we just shrug and moan about it maybe, but we don't send a letter to our local council and ask them why they haven't done that. So if you live in Wiltshire, I recommend you do that. We're building a brand new, massive leisure complex where I live. And when I mentioned it to the council worker, the councillor called Melanie Jacobs, when I mentioned it to her that these unisex spaces were more dangerous for women and children, she had no idea what I was talking about. So we have to start telling these people so they cannot. And I'm talking, you target individuals in the council. And if you're not doing this, why not? So you target individuals in the council, elected officials, as well as people that work in the council. So the council leaders, the executive board of the council. You write to them with the information, explaining to them what the law is on toilets, that the health and safety executive requires single-sex spaces. Also, I think we need to report the health and safety executive to the EHRC, because I don't think they're doing their jobs either when it comes to women's safety. But you tell them that unisex spaces, there is evidence, substantial evidence to that says that women and children are less safe in unisex spaces than in single-sex spaces, in women-only spaces. So that's all I'm saying. It's about time that we all started being Karens about this every single time. So to Graham, I'm so sorry this is happening to you. I can empathize probably more than most as someone who's been targeted for probably 7, 8 years now, and had much attention from the police, and felt like I was going to lose my life to this particular cause. And so, solidarity with you. I'm really sorry it's happening. It is utterly, utterly shameful. I don't know what to say. But if you can keep speaking the truth and retweet whatever you damn well please, whether it's on Graham's timeline or Fair Cop, whatever, then I promise we will win. They can't arrest us all, can they? If you can keep speaking the truth, even though you know that the police might come for you, and don't talk to the police, then I promise we will win. And do you know why else we're going to win? Well, because I never lose. God. Bye.
Just look at all those hungry mouths we have to feed. Take a look at all the suffering we breed. So many lonely faces scattered all around, searching for